Thank you, Chairman. Today, we've heard from House Republicans on this committee support for Trump and Musk's plan to abolish the Department of Education, to slash critical programs that help students like Title I, Pell Grants, financial aid, and programs that help kids learn, all to pay for a tax break for Trump's billionaire buddies and for friends of Elon Musk. Today, we've heard on committee alarming support from House Republicans for a national voucher scam that would pull money out of our public schools and hand it out in private contracts just to enrich their billionaire donors and their friends. And if you can't believe it, just take a look at what's happened here over the last couple of months. Musk has been using the federal government to get himself even more rich. He spent $277 million to elect Donald Trump, and since the election, he's become $154 billion richer. How is making billionaires richer while taking money away from our kids, how is that good for education? How's that good for student outcomes? How's that good for our community? How's that good for our taxpayers? It's good for no one but Trump's ego and for Musk's pocketbook. In places like Texas, I've seen rural Republicans speak out against these voucher scams because they know that pulling money out of our teachers and out of our public schools to hand over to unaccountable voucher schools is not empowering parents. It's taking money away from parents and handing it to these companies. For years, unaccountable, unregulated private schools have stolen public money through state voucher programs. We know some of those voucher schools took public funds for kids that weren't even intended or even going to those schools, weren't attending that school, embezzling millions of dollars. Elon Musk has used this kind of thing to his advantage for years. Remember that he is a government contractor himself who is taking untold amounts of money from a federal government that he's saying he's trying to make more efficient for somebody, but he's really trying to make it more efficient for himself. So what happens to our students that we want to learn when they have Title I funds cut away from about 60% of our public schools because of this House Republican plan to give a billionaire tax break? Who fills that gap? Is that our teachers spending their extra money that they barely have so that they can support our students? Is that local taxpayers that then have to pay to fill the gap, essentially backfilling the billionaire tax break that the Republican majority wants to pass? Are public schools that serve not just poor kids, but working class and middle class kids gonna have to close? How does that improve learning for our students? So we must continue to fight, and I'm ready to fight on a bipartisan basis if we can see some bravery from some number of rural Republicans, just like I've seen in the last few years in places like Texas, who are willing to stand up to the grift, who are willing to stand up to the corruption, are willing to actually stand up for our students. We can improve our education system, and we can do it without stripping it for parts and selling it to the highest bidder. Trump, Musk, and their minions want to expand these voucher scams, not because they want to improve reading, not because they want to improve math, but because they want to improve their own wealth. They want to improve their own standing in the stock market. You know, this DoE supposed agency, to me, is not the Department of Government Efficiency. It is the Department of Billionaire Corruption. And so from politically motivated firings this last week, to privatizing education, to eliminating whole departments against the Constitution, all so that private contractors can cash in, Trump and Musk are focused on one thing: enriching themselves no matter what the cost to Americans. And I would hope to hear some House Republican spine against this spineless corruption. And unfortunately, what I've been hearing in committee today, Mr. Chairman, is people either being silent or going along with it, even though they know it's gonna hurt our kids. Look at state after state after state where they've passed these voucher scams. Even Republicans that voted for it, you talk to them publicly and privately, they say this did not help. All it did was take money away from those schools that were asking for our help. Those people like us that are entrusted with these positions of power, we should be using it responsibly and not just be going along with the folks that already have more wealth than anybody's ever had in the history of this planet. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.